Quick question. 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 Quick question.
All right, guys, welcome back. I'm Jonathan.
I am Travis.
Together we are
Quick Question.
Guys, we are welcoming to the studio today a magician,
A man of the world of magic.
a comedian,
A man of the world of comedy.
a host.
A man of the world of hosts.
You've seen him on Ellen. You've seen him on The Tonight Show. He has a new show on Netflix called Magic for Humans. Please give it up for my friend Justin Willman.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome, Justin.
How
A
are you?
man of the world of humans.
Yes.
A man of the world of humans.
the world of humans.
A man of the world of podcast guests.
First and foremost, welcome to the studio. Where's the bag?
It's right next to you. I set you up. I got
Thanks,
your prop.
buddy.
What bag?
I preloaded your prop, buddy.
You got a bag
Here's
of
a bag
weed
of
right
oranges.
off the bat?
Here's a bag of oranges. Welcome to the
Wow.
Quick Question Studio.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are these
from my tree.
wow?
Yeah.
It's oranges were the weed.
Sadowski Orchard.
Yeah.
Those
Oranges-
are if I ever entered them in a contest, they would be award winning.
Right. And I was going to say that oranges are the original weed of California.
They are.
They are the original cash crop of California.
Orange is the new
Weed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Weed.
Orange is the new weed.
Orange is the new dank is the name of my show.
All right, so Justin, you know the format of the show.
Yes, I do.
We're gonna
Because we
invite
explained it to you 20 seconds ago.
we're gonna invite you to take something out of the jar of questions.
Questions.
Shake it up.
Questions.
Thank
Shake
you.
it up.
Shaking it up. Now, listeners don't know this, but it's more of like what used to be probably a flower vase.
It's a big vase.
It's a vase of questions.
Shaking it up.
the vase of
The
questions.
vase of questions.
Doesn't
And what-
sound as good.
It's going to be a conversation flower that
Make sure
grows
you
out
pick
of it.
wisely.
Oh, jeez. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
You got it?
Okay.
All right, Justin.
No
boy.
billet switches involved here, right?
Quick
Okay.
question.
Now, we've never met before, right? This is the
This
first
is correct. This is correct.
All right, here we
Is this
go.
your new parlor act that I'm witnessing? Okay.
What does it
Ooh,
say?
It's a two-parter. There's an or in here, so I get
Uh-oh.
to select. Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, I
it's
think
a
it's Joy's question, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe in moral absolutes? And if so, where do they come from?
Or-
if everything is relative, how do you feel about crime?
I would like to say that when Joy was on the show, her question was, how do you feel about porn? So
Yeah.
we go all over the map. We're
somewhere
Joy
between-
wrote this. Got it.
Yeah. So at the end of our little session today, you will actually get to write that question will get
Fantastic.
burned, and you get to write a question.
Okay.
So wait,
So how do you feel about moral absolutes?
I mean, this is a really smart question. I think I need to Google a few words.
Yeah,
in this
absolutely.
question to find out what everything means. And she also wrote some of it in kind of like just
to
regular
throw you
letters,
off.
and then she threw in some cursive here.
yeah. It's,
Wow.
when you're going to write a wordy question, it's
nice
mix
to
it up, you know?
mix it up.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
it-
Got to keep it going interesting.
ADD dude like
Readers today cannot stay focused on a sentence for more
me.
than
Moral
2 seconds.
absolutes.
Do you believe there is an absolute good?
An absolute good. I
Are
mean,
you just repeating everything I'm saying?
well, I'm thinking about it.
By-
Are you just
Knowing you,
repeating-
I thought this would, we'd be drinking scotch and talking about how late we've stayed at the castle.
This could be
unable to
arranged.
drive.
I don't see how these can be mutually. I mean, these could have a lot of overlapping.
Yeah,
I feel.
for sure.
Moral absolutes. So I don't believe anyone is absolutely bad. So I think on the flip side, I must believe that no one is absolutely good. But I feel
Wow.
like people are either mostly good or mostly bad. Did I just answer a question with a
Those
question?
those are the two options. You're right.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think, there is, when I was in high school, I was in this theology class. Our teacher made us read this book, and they were talking about how there is what's called like the greatest good. And how when we're...
With the greatest good of all, the Whitney Houston song. So
I think it's the greatest love of all.
Oh, the greatest love of all. I was so close.
But we always discuss that, people are inherently born good.
I've met some shitty babies.
You've made some shit.
I've met. I would like to clarify, to my knowledge, that I have made 0 babies.
Yeah, I don't know. I think negativity is kind of a learned behavior. Although, it's funny. The first thing we say as kids is no. Like, or like the first thing we learn how to do is that.
That's
But-
true. I believe that like in moral absolutes, I've done things that I am not proud of, things that I regret, but
Like
I feel
what?
like I feel like I'm a good person. I feel like
Yeah.
there's a
Top 5 regrets on the board.
boy. There's a visual aid here.
What does the survey say?
Moral absolutes. I don't know. I'm such a gray area guy, like a devil's advocate
That's
guy.
exactly how I am, man.
I can kind of defend everything a little bit, even if I don't agree with it. So I feel like
I understand your point,
am
but
jealous
what about? Let's think of it this way.
Yeah.
I just wanted to exactly be the devil's advocate to being a devil's advocate. I'm kind of the same way, but as the only non-magician in the room, don't you view as what you do a little bit lying?
Yeah. Well, I see it as we're entering, when I do a show, I feel like people are aware that I'm a magician. We're entering into an agreement that I'm going to withhold some of the truth in order to create the best entertainment. I feel like we go to a movie where we know that this is fake, unless it's a documentary. You go to a documentary, you would be very offended if you heard that, oh, they just made that part up to give the movie a good ending. Well, that's crap.
That's
right
interesting.
there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like it has a lot to do with the agreement, the unspoken rules of engagement that you're getting into as a performer. So I don't think that what I do as a magician and having to lie occasionally or kind of BS you here and there is a bad thing.
Yeah, it's so funny. I always I competed recently in the Strolling Showdown.
Yes.
And
Explain what that is.
The Strolling Showdown is at the Magic Castle, which Justin and I are both members of. There's a form of magic called strolling magic.
And I'm a guest. I have been a guest at the event, so.
But there's a form of magic called strolling magic where you just it's walk around magic. It's like as if you were at a cocktail party and there's a magician just walking around. That's your water if you want.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you're at a cocktail party and there's a magician walking around just showing magic, that's what strolling magic is. And there was a competition that I competed in. And one of the things I started my routine out with is I am not here to trick you.
Mm-hmm.
I go, no one likes being tricked. I go, I'm here to make a magical moment.
Yes.
I go, when I fell in love with magic as a kid, I didn't fall in love with it because I was being tricked. Because it's not likable. No one wants to feel taken advantage of. I fell in love with the things that seemed impossible becoming possible. So I always when I do magic from the get go, I kind of take away the I'm lying to you.
So
Even though I'm blatantly
So you're lying about how you're not going to trick them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right, because you're tricking them.
100%.
I'm here to trick you,
Yeah.
absolutely.
100%.
So what you're telling me is you're a con man. You're like, I'm 100% telling you the truth. Also, I'm not going to be telling you the truth.
That's hysterically funny. Yeah.
That's my favorite reaction that you have. You're like, that's really funny. Like no laughter, just
That's
verbally
very,
telling me that I'm
It's
funny.
very
Yeah.
introspective.
Yeah.
Introspective. So how do you deal with people who cross you or who are
Oh
just
shit.
blatantly bad?
Oh man, I'm never good with that. I sometimes I forget people who've been a dick to me, and then I'll be like, I don't like holding grudges. It's a lot of energy that
It
eats
is.
me
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
So my wife is the opposite. She's really good at reminding me who we hate.
Does she have like
Justin, don't be nice to him.
my
You
God.
hate him.
She's good at reminding us who we hate.
Yes. Or just who she's reminding me that someone really really screwed me over and never apologized for it.
I'm picturing a spreadsheet of hate. Like just a lot of itemized. Here's why we don't like them. Here's why.
That's hysterical.
Not a black book. It's just a red book. Of hate. Just fury.
But you don't seem like a guy who gets angry often.
I don't get angry. No, I don't get angry often, but I have been wronged, and it really bothers me. It really upsets me
Yeah.
because I have a hard time just throwing away. And normally, for someone to wrong you, you kind of had to be really close with them. You had
Sure.
to be vulnerable, like you've let them into your life. So I have a hard time throwing away all the good. So I will, be really pissed for a couple weeks, and then time passes, and I'm like, God, I miss talking to that dude. He's
Like
still
that old
still in
country
my
song,
favorites.
My wife ran away with my best friend, and I'm really starting to miss him.
Right.
Exactly. So I don't even when someone does something that I think is unforgivable, I still am open to forgiving them if they kind of at least come crawling back a little bit.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that.
I do too. There are still people I won't talk
You're
to.
black and white with it.
I'm very black and white with it. I come from a long line of Sicilians.
Yeah.
And it's like
I'm black and black with it. There's
Yeah,
no winning. I have been told by numerous people, there's no winning with you. So that's what I've learned about me.
But you forgive.
I remember.
Yeah, I think that for me, I'm come from the school of thought if someone crosses me, you're just fucking out, Like I don't have time
Unless
for
you go to great lengths to let me know that you are aware of how you screwed up.
100%.
And here's a gesture of good faith, and and then it's like, okay, let me weigh the evidence
Yeah,
here. I'll bring it
even
back in.
then, I don't know if I'd ever like hang out with that person again. I'd just be like, you know what, we're cool, but I don't need to see him
Right.
or her.
What's harder to get over for you guys? A professional slight or a personal slight?
Personal.
Personal?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, well, for me, I think like and I would assume too, you like professional and personal kind of overlap. You know,
Yeah.
when you're a performer, and you have other people working for you and stuff, like agents and managers and attorneys and fucking publicists and business managers, and if one of those people cross you, it's not only a professional cross, it's kind of a personal cross too, because these are people you're dealing with on a daily basis.
It's hard because what we do for a living is also kind of what we do for fun. So
There you go.
everyone who we work with, we also kind of play with. We're having fun, like especially like fellow magicians. It's like they're your playmates. You know, like you're like we're working on tricks. It doesn't feel like work when that's happening.
It's like constant summer camp.
So, but it is. Then it's almost like you're getting stabbed twice. It's like, oh, you're my buddy, and you whatever, you stole a gig or you kind of
Yep.
lied to throw me under the bus or something. It's like a double kick in the nuts.
You ever been crossed by a woman?
Kicking both nuts. Crossed by a woman.
like an ex-lover. Do you have any
No.
jaded ex-lovers?
I mean, no, and to a fault in that I've always maintained like a good relationship with my exes, which
You're
never
just a
goes
fucking
over.
nice guy, dude.
Well, that never goes over well then with my whoever's my current. My wife now is, she's not,
rad.
She's rad. She's super rad. But and every girlfriend has been a little uncomfortable with how friendly I've been with my exes.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever ended a relationship well. I'm not
Well,
even
this
kidding.
podcast is going to get real weird.
No, I'm not kidding. I don't speak. I mean on Facebook, like every once in a while, me and my like college girlfriend, we'd like wish each other a happy birthday, but I don't keep in touch with anybody I've dated.
Oh, I keep in touch with all but one.
That's fucking weird.
It's been a long time. Like time heals all wounds. Eventually, you're just like, oh, you're this weird tie to my past, to this person I used to be. It's not that I want to be like your best friend and see you all the time.
But these were amicable breakups.
No. Oh, no, not at all.
But whatever the reason for the breakup was at the time, that was hot and heavy. That just fades away.
Yeah, that goes
The
away.
The
Yeah.
good stuff doesn't fade away,
Right.
which is nice. Which is what makes a friend screwing over really hard.
Yeah.
They're in so many of your photos. You flip through, my Apple TV screensaver pops up, and I'm like, oh,
I don't talk to them
God
anymore.
damn
I
Yeah.
should
Carl.
change that. But like,
God damn it, Carl.
Carl, it's rough.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. So, hey, you have a new television show,
I do.
Magic for Humans.
Magic for Humans.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where the hell did this come from?
Oh man.
Well, not. I know you're a magician.
Right.
I know he's a magician. I'm saying, like, tell me, like, the whole word, Magic for Humans.
Well, I guess aside from just like the specific plot of the show, like it's always been my dream to have a program where I can express myself as do it as a magician that I want to put out into the world. Which up until now, I think I've only really had my live shows or some TV appearances to do that.
And guys, if you haven't seen him live, I highly recommend going to see him live. We went and saw you at the Magic Castle
yeah,
recently.
you came in
Melissa and I.
twice, which is
Oh, cool.
awesome.
And we saw his show, and literally after the show, Melissa was shaking her head, and she goes, direct quote, "That guy's a fucking star." It was
She's 100% right.
Wait,
it was
or did she
amazing.
say that guy's a star fucker?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It was really loud in there.
I
It's
was
hard.
a little
yeah.
drunk.
It was
No.
the acoustics in there. That part kind of just drifted up. Yeah, it was hard to hear.
No, that's very sweet.
No,
And thank
your
you guys
show
for
rocked,
coming in.
yeah,
That was
so-
a lot of fun. And up until now, like I hosted Cupcake Wars for years, so I feel like the program that I became most, at least, recognizable to people who haven't seen me live was that Cupcake show. So a lot of people are like, oh, whoa, he's a magician too, as if I just started doing magic
Right.
versus.
Well, you're like, well,
25
cupcakes were
years.
great. What if I tried magic?
Exactly.
What was my
So
follow-up?
It's a
I
lateral
got
move.
to ask you a question. I heard a rumor
Uh-huh.
about how you got involved with magic.
Okay.
Did you break both your arms as a kid?
I did. True
And you
story.
and your doctor told you to do card tricks?
Yeah. So I broke both my arms. I was 12. I was riding my bike while wearing rollerblades.
Oh my
And
god.
that's the laugh of a man who's done it.
What was the goal with that? Like, what was the ideal?
Being a fucking badass, obviously.
Sure, but like, was it to like ditch the bike and to be on the blades? Was it?
I
To,
think that's the
Go,
idea.
go off a ramp, ditch
Yeah.
the bike, land it on the rollerblades.
I think you forgot the part about the backflip
Yeah.
in the air into the land.
I think it's maybe indecisiveness about committing to a mode of transportation, but also, all right, I'm rollerblading. oh, hey, those are my friends. They're on their bikes. Well, crap, I don't have my shoes. I want to bike with them. Well, let me just grab my bike and I will bike blade along with
This
you.
is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and how old are you at this point?
12.
All right.
So you broke both of your arms.
Yeah,
Hold on.
flew
Before
over
we
the
get into
handlebars.
that, I wanted to give my rollerblade thing because I was much older than 12. I was 24.
You were rollerblading in your 20s.
Yeah. And I was like, it's fun driving with my rollerblades on.
Oh, no. An automobile.
Getting out of the car and skating around my car with no one driving it and then jumping back in the car.
You ghost rode the whip.
Yes.
In rollerblades.
With, to impress no one. Like, no one was with me. No one else. I would do this all the time. I would do this all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should do that Drake challenge video.
Yeah.
What's the
Where-
Drake challenge?
Is that what it's called?
It's something like that. It's like the You Make Me Feel or It
Yeah.
Makes Me Feel or something like
Where
that.
you're kind of dancing along the side of your coasting automobile.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds.
But in this case, you'd be rollerblading.
I would be
along the
rollerblading.
side.
Yeah, I'd be
Uh-huh.
absolutely.
You only
yeah.
see him like every 3 seconds. He's like there.
and then he runs himself over.
So I didn't. Luckily, never got hurt, but I was old enough to know better. Like that's a dumb thing to do. At
You
any
definitely
age.
should have known
Yeah.
better not to not wear rollerblades in your 20s.
And to drive with them and to get out of the car. But you are riding your bike with rollerblades on. I'm guessing hijinks ensues.
Hijinks ensues. Trying to impress some girls.
There it is.
Yeah.
Going down a hill. Hit the brakes with my
No,
right
no, no, no.
hand.
The front wheel?
The front wheel only.
Over.
And caught myself with my hands.
Nope.
And broke both my arms. Was in cast for 6 months.
Oh my God.
6
They
months?
had to break it, unbreak it, break it. Yeah.
How?
It was
Oh
bad
my
on the left
God.
arm.
Are most of your arms titanium now? Like, are
No,
you?
we're good. I did have pins for a while, but now I'm good. Just
We're
can't
good.
rotate the left one all the way. Right one's good. A magician would come through the Children's Hospital in St. Louis, and I was a captive audience. I liked magic. I had a magic set when I was like 6.
Captain, yeah, you're there for 6 months. You're not
Yeah.
going anywhere. Yeah.
And my doctor was like, magic, that would be a great physical therapy activity. You should maybe get into that. And he didn't like really, that was probably all that he said. He planted this little seed. He
Right.
didn't remember this years later. And then I kind of got into magic, got the casts off, quit playing saxophone that I was mediocre at, quit playing guitar, which I hadn't even figured out yet, and magic became the thing.
So if I hear this correctly, your entire career is due to childhood trauma.
Exactly. Exactly. I fell into it.
You set him up and he knocks him down.
Ba-boom.
Boom.
Amazing. And that was when you're 12 years
That's
old.
like 12,
it's,
yeah.
It's so funny how everybody has their own crazy story of how they got into magic. You know? Like, most of them are just like, oh, yeah, I picked up a magic book or something like that.
Or the kit. I hear the kit a
The
lot.
kit is a
yeah.
big one.
The
Yeah.
kid. Yes.
Yeah. So this now is your career.
It's my career.
You travel the world.
Yeah. A little too much travel. I want to
you're gone
tone
a lot.
that down. I want to tone that down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a young man's game. Like I did colleges for years. I would tour the college market, which, and I was in my 20s and you got the stamina. It's great. And you also feel, when you're in your 20s, you feel something just about flying. You're like, yeah, you feel important. You're like, I'm a businessman.
yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm doing something that requires me going somewhere.
I was more focused on being a clown in my 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is not a joke. He was a
I was
clown?
I was a
And so it's not a mistake that you have the red foam
that's
microphone.
exact.
We've
gets
been
it.
over this.
He gets it. He gets it.
It's good.
Yeah.
Just hold it 2 inches
Yeah.
higher. It's good.
For our listeners at home, we each have different colored microphones.
Go on and tell, Jonathan.
And Travis's, his name was Travis the Clown.
Because
by the
I'm
way.
very clever.
Travis the Clown.
Yeah.
Travis the Clown. So tell us more about this Magic for
Magic for
Humans.
Humans. So this show is a 6-episode show, 6 half-hour episodes. It's Netflix's first original magic show, which I'm very stoked about.
Mazel.
And every episode, I explore a different aspect of the human experience that I have true curiosity about: self-control, self-expression, guilt, technology, love, fear, and we kind of dissect it through social experiments, street magic. It's basically taking magic but doing it all for a purpose and a reason, trying to glean some truths about humanity. But it's also a comedy show, so it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Is it suitable for all ages?
It's kind of a TV 14, I imagine. So there's no,
an arbitrary age.
we bleep all the F bombs, but we kind of
But you still use them.
yeah. I mean, like the love episode, for example, which is episode 6. Like I do a segment with. Have you heard of puppy play? The
No.
grown men who it's kind
What?
of a
Oh.
S&M
No.
B&D thing where you dress up as puppies and,
And
you
they
have
like
a
put you
master.
in the fucking cage and shit like that.
Yeah. So I do a thing about puppy play, which is just about, really it's about exploring how couples keep the spark alive, but we kind of
How
I
the
like
couples keep the Sparky alive.
Sparky.
Hey.
So, I like to
You can use it.
explore these little subcultures. So that was one that I'm sure most parents would find a little uncomfortable.
How did you discover puppy play?
While we were writing the show,
Quick question.
I fell into it.
You broke both your arms.
Like we try to find all these little subcultures that exist that just people are very surprised to hear are a real thing.
Right.
Goat yoga, that's a real thing in LA. Where
Goat
people,
yoga?
You do yoga with on a farm with goats, and you let the goats hop up on you, and you hold the goats and stuff, which is a weird gimmick, but it's
Yeah.
a real thing. So we did like a goat yoga segment, which is just about self-control and about where I levitate and possibly with a goat on my back. I think the idea is goats are great balancers. Like they're
yeah.
So you kind of by doing yoga with goats, you kind of become one, and you maybe glean a little bit of their
Energy.
balance ability.
Did you ever
their
see the
energy.
goats in the fucking trees?
What?
Goats are awesome. You know what's very
Goats
in right
are
now?
awesome.
Goats. They have videos of.
Goat on.
Oh boy.
Oh, you just got his goat.
I did.
They have videos of goat parkour.
Nope.
They
Goats
do.
do not like. I will unequivocally say, goats do not do parkour.
Well, they call it goat parkour, but it's them like jumping and twisting in the air and shit. And then they do the screaming goats.
Oh yes.
They,
Sure.
Have
Then
you ever
there's
seen
the fainting
the
goats?
fainting goats?
Fainting goats are my
hilarious.
favorite.
They're
They're my
amazing.
absolute favorite.
No, wait, is that like?
That's literally, if I had a spirit animal, it would be a fainting goat. Like, I'm overwhelmed.
I think you should just start fucking locking up in public.
Oh, have you not seen me in public? That's exactly what I
That's
do.
amazing.
So so that's kind of the idea, and then I mean it's loosey goosey and fun. But I kind of stole the idea from the TED Radio Hour.
Yeah.
It's
No,
an
I don't know.
NPR show. It's just like where they kind of or This American Life, where it's like a loose theme, and you kind of explore a bunch of stories within that theme. You would never say this story is very similar to that one, but because you're exploring the idea of self-control, like there's a little thread that connects, and I just kind of like that idea. I love magic, but I feel like magic is rarely done, with a context and a purpose, and I just think that gives it a lot more weight.
So storytelling
Storytelling
through magic.
through magic a little bit,
I
yeah.
love it.
And it's autobiographical, where it's kind of like.
You broke
It's all-
people's arms. You're like, now you get it.
Exactly.
Hey, how are we going to have the next generation of magicians if we don't break some arms?
Yeah. There you go. So talk to me about these subcultures.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by them.
I am too.
Yeah. There's like a lot of weird shit out there.
Oh my
is.
God,
You got
that's
like
all
the
there
emo,
is.
the vamps, like all of them. I was there was a large part of my youth when I was in the breakdancing world.
No.
I swear to God.
No.
South side of Chicago, me and my brothers and the kids in our neighborhood, we would put out linoleum on the street and we would breakdance.
What was the name of your crew?
The Electric Shoelaces.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was part of the skate crew.
Or no, wait, was it the Electric Shoelaces?
I don't know.
No, I think that I think the Electric Shoelaces was from an episode of Different Strokes. And I'm not even kidding. But I think we might have stolen it from Electric Boogaloo, from Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo. But I know it was electric something.
So electric, you had to have electric in the
Something,
title.
yeah.
Because
We're talking 1985, dude.
well, yeah, when Electric Boogaloo came out.
Everything was
yeah.
electric.
Yeah. I had a skate crew. We were called the Atomic Rasta Muffins.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Cultural
I don't-
appropriation.
very much.
Uh-huh.
I think we changed it to Ripopotamus later.
Cultural appropriation.
Rasta muffins.
Yeah, the Atomic Rasta Muffins.
Okay.
But we later changed it to Ripopotamus because,
I like that.
yeah,
That's
was
a clever name.
Yeah, it was we were very much like, what if Red Hot Chili Peppers were less talented? That was our whole vibe.
Ripopotamus.
Yeah.
There you
They
go.
loved hippos.
We did, and ripping and just ripping
Ripping.
hippos. That was what
you,
we did.
Do you dabble outside of the magic realm in any subcultures?
And any other subcultures, man.
Were you
well,
big in the comic book thing?
No.
'Cause
No.
you just went to the meltdown just to do. your
Yeah,
show.
well, I did early on when I in LA in the comedy scene. Chris Hardwick and I had the same manager, so Chris is a big Magic fan. So
Is he really?
yeah, loves
I didn't
Magic.
know that.
So I kind of my first web series was on the Nerdist YouTube channel, and then I would do shows at Meltdown all the time. So he kind of took me under his wing and ushered into that world. And yeah, we do shows at Meltdown a lot, but I was never a big comic book guy. But there's something about either they thought I was big into magic, like The Gathering, and they were like, "This guy's cool," or whatever. But I never felt like a poser. Like I never had to pretend like I liked comic books. Comic book people, I think, like magic. They like the fantasy aspect of magic.
Right,
you know?
right.
So it fit in really well. I mean, we're all kind of nerdy about different things.
Yeah, there is certain a thing in magic where like you got your Doug Henning, you know, who's like the
Yes,
wonderful
yeah,
world
yeah.
of illusion.
Uh-huh.
And then you got your like David Blaine, who's kind of just like doing creepy shit with his
Yeah.
body and like freaking people out. But I feel like your magic is very like personable.
Yeah,
And funny.
It's hysterically funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's personal humorous. We'll fix that one. I like that. I was trying to rip
Fix
hippopotamus.
that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
We'll fix that one in post.
Prestidigita hilarious.
But I went through all the phases that weren't me in order to finally get to what was me. Like I used to do a dove act like Lance Burton.
Oh, Justin,
To
I don't know if
music.
I've ever told you about this,
What?
but I want to say I saw you perform as Justin Credible on
Uh-huh.
TV
Uh-huh.
in like 2002.
Oh wow, 30 Seconds to Fame?
Yes!
Was that the show?
That
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah, that was my first TV appearance ever.
Yeah.
Just moved to LA. I think I was still hadn't even graduated college yet. It was like my second semester my senior year. 30 Seconds to Fame was like an early AGT kind of show where
Okay.
performers would have 30 seconds
Where people
before
who
the audience could either keep cheering or vote you off. You could get X'd early.
Are there people who used to be famous judging you? Is that part
No,
of it? No.
it was the audience.
Oh, okay.
Which is the scary part because audiences are not always the brightest. I think I made a dove appear. I coughed up some cards. I did a silk decane.
Did
yeah.
you do darts in the stage? No.
Darts.
I thought
No,
you
I don't
threw
think I did
maybe not.
darts.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Different
go on.
Just
So you
Incredible.
went through.
But yeah, I
the-
went. Well, I mean, I guess the big headline is that I had a stage name for years as Justin Credible. When I was doing kids' birthday parties in college, I went by Justin Credible
What?
just on a little whim. Yeah, you think your clown name is bad.
I was more of the kids' birthday parties.
Yeah.
Like that was
Oh, kids' birthday parties were my bread and butter for years. That was my jam. I love performing for
bread,
kids.
butter, and jam. Wow,
And
you
jam.
get all of it.
Hey,
fucking
It's a
got
lot
them
of
all
yeah.
covered.
they were my,
Magic
my
toast.
breakfast. But just as a catchy name, you know, when you're doing kids' birthday parties, these kids need to remember your name when they go home to tell their parents that they want you at their birthday party, and no one's going to remember Justin Willman or Justin Williams is going to get a lot of gigs, whoever that is. So, and then Justin Credible stuck for years till I was 30, and then I killed them off because you know.
Did you literally kill him? Did you
I-
bury him? Did you?
I think he's.
Does
dead.
he ever make any appearances?
When I'm drunk, you'll hear some Justin Credible jokes. The puns will come out.
Dude, one of his fucking jokes. I was watching him in the parlor. So the parlor is one of the performance rooms at the Magic Castle, and he was doing this trick where he borrows someone's cell phone, and there was this guy, and he borrows the guy's cell phone, and he goes, "Is this a iPhone 6?" And the guy goes, "Yes," and Justin goes, "Congrats on your success."
I love that joke so much that when someone gives me an iPhone 7, like a little bit inside me dies. I'm just like, this audience isn't gonna get to hear my joke.
No, and I think it's cool. I think you have and don't take this the wrong way. I think you have a way of knocking people down a rung, but in like the most like how they say impersonation is like the highest form of flattery. It's like I think it takes a really clever person to humiliate someone but make them laugh about it. Does that make sense?
To you, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, I know what you mean. There's and I found that especially at the castle sometimes where it's everyone's a little the LA crowd at the castle's kind of like a little cynical, but they're drinking so it's kind of nice just to. Not that I'm an insult comic, but just to bust balls in a fun way. But they need to know it's coming from a place of like, we're cool. I'm not trying to embarrass you. Like I never push it too far, but it is just nice to, let people know that you're not some bitch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Street cred.
I'm gonna punch
and you,
back.
Like you as a stand-up comic, I deal with that, like the hecklers and shit like that.
Oh my god, it's my least favorite thing. That's because I don't like being mean to people. I don't like it. But if you can't be nice to a heckler because then it's just like, open season on Jackass with the microphone.
Yep.
And then the next thing you know, you're so.
I know what you mean. That's why I have a hard time shutting down hecklers that I really, that are maybe a nuisance because I'll like bust their balls, but I'll do it in a way that they think like, oh wow,
I added to the show.
that just
Yeah.
got a big laugh. Is
Yeah.
what they're thinking. They're like, okay, all right, it's a 2-man show now. Let's do it. You know, as opposed to sometimes you just have to be like, hey, you're not helping. Shut up. And
You ever?
no joke there, and then it feels weird for me.
The worst is when you're trying to handle somebody who's being too whatever, and you're too aggressive, and now the audience is on their side
Oh,
and
that's
not
fucking-
yours,
yes.
and you're like,
That's
oh,
hysterical.
I still got 20 minutes.
That's
know what
really,
to do.
That's really, really funny.
It's hard to read the room
Yeah.
sometimes. You can't be too harsh.
Yeah.
Unless they really deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're coming up with your routines and your stuff like that, where do you start? What's your when you're like conceiving a magic effect or a joke, or your TV show? Where's your jumping off point?
I think ideally I like to start with the idea and an idea that's not magic related. Just like, what's the idea? Like for the show, as we're exploring, self-control is one of the episodes. So the Stanford Marshmallow Experiment is this
Stanford prison experiment.
not the prison one, the
Yeah,
marshmallow.
What's the
different
Stanford Marshmallow Experiment?
It's they did this in the 70s and the 80s where they would with children, and they would say, here's a marshmallow. Now you can eat it now if you want. Totally cool. Or if you can wait 15 minutes, restrain yourself, not eat it, I'll give you a second marshmallow. And by observing how kids would do with this, and if they would just take the immediate gratification or if they would hold out, how they do as children actually related very directly to how they performed later in life on test scores and if they were successful careers, etc.
Does
Yeah.
Stanford do anything that doesn't just irreparably damage people? It's just all their experiments are like,
And their student loans, I'm sure.
The Stanford divorce experiment. They took a bunch of 4-year-olds, told their parents were fucking.
pick a parent. That's the one you can't see.
But there's some YouTube videos about recreations of it, just, as is. So I was like, well, how do we add a little, like, some original layer to that? And if you think about, well, a marshmallow, and if what I added to the experiment was, I was like, oh, and here's a cup, like a red Solo cup. If you don't want to look at it, you can cover it up with a cup, and that way you don't have to be tempted. So now with the cup and the marshmallow, basically it's a chop cup.
Yep.
So which is basically a magic trick. Normally it's done with like a very magic looking prop, but by now using ordinary objects, I was able to have the marshmallow disappear, reappear, multiply, where the kid doesn't know
that's
there's a magician.
amazing.
So now we get to see how they react when it looks like I act like they ate the marshmallow, and they're like, no, I didn't eat it. It disappeared. I'm like, okay,
Oh my
whatever.
God. We're gonna
So
have
it was
to
just kind of a fun way
Would
to
you-
add a new layer.
But we have to
would-
follow up with these
would-
kids in like 20 years. And,
Would you,
and this is perfectly followed their
A
life.
kid did cry. I did make a kid cry.
Are you serious?
In like 3 minutes into the series, you see me make a child cry, which I'm quite proud of.
Yes. Anytime
right, so
you can make a child
Travis
cry.
Clark,
Yeah.
you are 6 years old.
Yep.
You get brought into Stanford.
Fuck.
They put a marshmallow in front of you.
I've already eaten it. It's already gone. They're explaining what the thing is, and I'm like, and I know for a fact that's what I would. I remember making s'mores as like an 8-year-old, and I couldn't figure out why we couldn't have. Well, there's no Hershey's chocolate. Why is there no Hershey's chocolate? And my friend's like, you keep eating it.
That's amazing.
So, and I was unaware of it. I was just like, oh, here's some chocolate, cool. And then I just try
Just
and go
fucking taking down the ingredients. It's amazing.
So for sure, if you put a marshmallow in front of me, whether it was going to be a magic trick or an experiment, I would have already eaten it and then found out that I should have waited for the instructions.
Yeah, it's weird. I think
So
as-
I have no self-control is what I'm saying.
But
I'm
as a,
with you.
I think as a kid, I would have waited, but I think as an adult, I would eat it, because I think I lost a lot of trust somewhere along the line for people, and I go, I don't believe you're going to give me 2 afterwards, and I think 1 in the hand is worth 2. Like, I'd rather have it now, and that's like very much who I am now. It's like I'm not going to wait. I want something done now.
Oh, well,
Life
if we're,
is short.
right. But
Yeah,
if
enjoy
we're
it.
talking about now, I would say, well, are these marshmallows vegan? Is there gelatin in them? I can't eat them if there's gelatin in them.
But for me, marshmallows aren't even that
I fucking
delicious.
They're not that great.
Who cares? But as a kid, it's so weird that something is
Yeah.
not that special as a marshmallow would be that hard to.
Do you think the
resist.
kids are more fascinated by the
By marshmallows.
by the game of it?
by the game of it, by saying that that don't eat it for this reason?
Yeah.
is what's difficult.
It's like
I think.
who can keep quiet the longest game.
Oh, I love that game when I'm not playing.
When
That's
we're
the
not doing a
be-
podcast,
yeah.
we'll play it.
Let's.
Not
they
good
were
on
quiet
podcasts.
for 20 minutes. It was
Would
weird.
you have eaten the marshmallow?
As a kid,
Yeah.
I probably would have.
And now?
I was a spasmodic child. I mean, you'd need to tempt me with something a little more tasty than a marshmallow. But
For example,
I mean, if there's a nice little glass of Lafroig on the table,
there you
Oh
go.
my God.
I'm gonna say, well, gee, in 15 minutes the ice will have melted. It's gonna not be right. How about I drink it now, and then in 15 minutes I talk you into giving me another one? Well, yeah, I'll Postmates another one. Is what I do now.
So the Stanford AA meeting is what we're doing.
Yes,
I got it.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't. I tend to be very much instant gratification now. Like I'm the guy who
Now?
no.
I thought I mean, I've only known you a few years, but it seems like that's a hardwired part of you.
But as a kid, it wasn't.
Really?
I was a patient kid. I think.
I think you were a patient as a kid.
But I'm the guy who like even when I fucking order on Amazon, and it's like I have Amazon Prime and it's free like 2-day shipping. I pay for the extra like next day shipping.
Really?
Yeah, I need to have
You
it
could
now.
just go to a store.
I know, but I don't know. I know,
I'm with you.
All
but
right.
I don't know.
It depends on what the thing is, but it's like, I mean, a whole day earlier, it's like, I want it.
Right.
And a day that's a day.
That was my problem when eBay first started. And eBay is kind of brilliant when you think about it. You're like, I won. Yet you agreed to pay somebody. You didn't win shit. You're still having to. It's still commerce.
Uh-huh.
But shit would show up at my house for weeks that I didn't remember winning. And I loved it. I loved the idea of getting the thing that was hard to find. And then I'd forget that I was excited about it. And then it would come. And then the next thing you know, I have 10,000 flanger pedals.
Well, like auctions, even just like real auctions. Like I've bought stuff in. I love collecting Magic memorabilia and stuff, and just being on the phone, and it's like it's fast paced. You
do the
we've been on the
phone
auction?
Yeah, Powder and Powder auctions is in Chicago. So sometimes if I really want an item,
I've never
they
heard
said
of this.
like, oh yeah, we'll call you when that item's coming up, and you just get caught up in the excitement of it all. And sometimes if you get into a bidding war, you can hear kind of the crowd that's actually there live, like, ooh, they get excited, and you end up paying way more.
Are you sure it's just
Are you sure it's not some guy like just
It
by
might
himself?
just
up for auction now.
Whoever's on the phone is a cool guy. Wow.
Just totally buttering you up.
It's just a guy with a soundboard hitting different buttons. Oh, this is so great.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger goes on.
Who is
your daddy
and what does he do?
Hey now. So tell us more. When does this little show come out of yours?
It comes out August 17th, and I'm just really stoked for people to see it. I'm like very proud of it. I'm not often like really thrilled about anything that I do by the time it's done, because you kind of, you're editing a thing. I'm sure, finally when you see it, you're like, oh gosh, I would have done it differently now. Or,
You've
I'm
seen
so
this
much
stuff though,
better
right?
now. Yeah, I oversaw the edit. I kind of saw it too much for a long time. And then we delivered it, and now it's been a couple months, and it's not all as precious to me
Right.
anymore. But I'm really proud of it. I feel like it's kind of a fresh thing out there. I mean, with Magic, you're asking like, where do you come up with the new tricks? For me, like my strength is not inventing tricks that have never existed before. There are many guys and girls who are brilliant at that, which is awesome. I think I like to take classics and just disguise them. Use a new object, and it makes it feel new. I feel like people respect that as a new original piece of magic as much as, a new move or a trick that's never existed. So.
Does that translate into the comedy world? Like, if you're doing stand-up comedy, that's
If
just
I
like
do somebody's old jokes, I'm in trouble.
really.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I've seen people do it. I've called people out for doing it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not even just like adapting
A
them.
different premise, or like there's parallel thought, and then there's taking somebody's bit, and it's different with Magic. Because Magic, there's a shorthand, or my understanding of it as a fan more than a practitioner. You go, okay, that you guys are talking about dove tricks, like producing a dove. There's a long history of that. You don't have to like suddenly reinvent that trick. You can just put your spin on it. But if I
Right.
went up there and did a classic Carlin joke, but just changed a couple of words, people
They're like,
would-
"That's not
they,
yours."
They would not talk to me. They would just ostracize.
But
me.
if
Yeah.
you like, like Stephen Wright kind of pioneered this style and delivery and this slow pacing. So you could say somebody could reinvent, could be a modern Stephen Wright and still be treated as
Right.
like, oh, this guy's he's brilliant. It's very
Right.
original. It's kind of like a Stephen
Right.
Wright vibe.
Yeah.
So you're not recycling the rhythm or the pacing or just plugging in a modern reference in an old joke, but
True.
you're kind of just picking up where
Being
they left
influenced,
off.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can, I guess, adopt a personality that is similar to an old, I mean, roasting is huge right now, but I'd say that goes back to Don Rickles and the Friars Club. So that form of comedy is adaptable. But
Yeah.
an
I love those
actual,
things,
an
yeah.
actual straight up joke, no. You can't.
Did
do
you guys
that.
watch the roast of Bruce Willis?
I didn't yet. Was it great?
Dude, it's there is some like,
Brutal.
I mean, there's some great moments. Did you watch it?
I didn't. A couple of friends of mine worked on it, but I didn't.
I
see
have
it.
I have it recorded. We'll have to watch it later. It's
I heard.
it's
Well, they're
pretty
never. They're never not brutal.
it's brutal. It was odd. Like, I love Bruce. I did a movie with him, and he's wonderful. But it's the thing I love about the old roasts is that they were so like free, and like they would just be like Dean Martin would be like looking around and stuff like that. And now it's like literally like every actor's just like staring at the cue card in the back, going up the So it's just a little too
Little
like,
stiff.
a little staged.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
too staged. But the jokes
the
are
modern ones.
yeah.
Well, yeah. The thing that I that I like about the old ones that I wished was more part of the newer ones is that everybody who comes up to roast the person has a connection to the person. A lot of the
Right.
time, it was people who'd worked with them for a long time or was really their close friend, and the idea was like, I'm going to say the shit I shouldn't say about you. And now it's like just really good comics with really good jokes who are like, I'm aware of you, but we've never met, and now I'm going to say some real dark shit about you in front of all your friends.
Yeah. The Bruce Willis one, they had a bunch of people that like he's always worked with and stuff like that. Dom Herrera.
Yeah.
Oh, they fucking laced into him.
Really?
Oh, that poor bastard.
Well,
I felt, and he was like on stage, and I almost like felt bad. It's like to the point, I don't think he knew what he was getting into, but it like they threw him to the fucking lions.
So, in terms of roasting, would you say there are moral absolutes in roasting?
Ah,
Way to
see?
bring it
Ah,
back.
Medical
Look at me.
drill.
I've done this before.
Yes, I think there are.
It's like
I
things
think
that
there
are off topic.
I think there are certain lines you do not cross, or if you do, you better make sure that they fucking
it's,
land.
Yeah, it's
It's
perfect.
as funny as it can fucking be.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you come off looking like just a straight jagoff.
So then to review.
To review,
Moral absolutes. Yeah, kind of.
there's some.
I guess.
Just don't be a dick.
If you're a pussy.
Don't be a dick. Rollerblading.
Don't do it.
Rollerblading is fun.
Rollerblading
is fun.
Rollerblading
it's fun.
is the gateway to magic.
But bicycling is fun.
I know where you're going.
But rollerblading
while
and bicycling,
not a good combo.
not a good combo.
Absolutely.
And morally.
What else we got?
Justin's show is coming out.
Justin's show, August 17th on Netflix, Magic for Humans. Oh, some people like to dress up as puppies.
Yeah, there's subcultures, and maybe that's your thing, but don't be weird if it's not.
Yeah. And more importantly, don't be a dick. Just again.
Don't be a dick. And marshmallows aren't that great.
Yeah.
I think we can just
fuck
aren't
Stanford.
that great. Yeah.
Fuck Stanford.
Fuck Stanford.
Justin, tell us your socials.
My 487 84.
But we're still going to 1099 you, so I hope
Okay.
that's okay.
Wait, that was another. He did a great joke too when he was doing this thing. He's like, with this, he's in the audience. He's like, "What's your last four?" And he like, he's like, "Just the last four, just the last four." And then he goes, "All right, now what's the first five?" He goes, just the first five, just the first five.
I've had people tell me people trust
fucking
you when you're a magician.
That's
It's something.
amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us your socials.
So Twitter is Justin_Willman. Instagram just Justin Willman.
Justin Willman.
Facebook you can find me, but the Twitter has an underscore because there's another Justin Willman.
What?
Who got it first? He's like a 25-year-old dude in Boulder who's a dick.
What does he do?
He
He
a
plays
professional
baseball. He goes to college. He tweets once a year.
dick. Oh my god.
I've had that happen with Travis Clark. That's a real problem.
It's annoying.
It's the guy who has it wants like $1,500 for it. I went, you are mistaking me for the other Travis Clark. I don't have
The
that kind of
singer.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a dialogue once. We had a lot of DMs, and I offered him $500 at one point, and he's like, "Come on, Mr. Hollywood, you can do better than that."
What a dick.
I'm like, "No,
Ugh.
I can't."
Fuck you, Justin Willman. Not you. The other.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Fuck
me.
you, non-underscore. Yeah.
Fuck you and your not.
Fuck you, early adopter.
What?
Do you want I was pointing for your,
Yeah, well, I didn't-
for your I'm Sadowski23 on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay. And I'm at Mr. Travis Clark on all of them for as long as I'm going to remain on them.
We are at QuickQPod on both Twitter and Instagram. Guys, August 17th on Netflix. Be sure to catch the special.
Magic for Humans.
Woo! Guys, thank you so much. Justin, thank you.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to write a question in all block letters.
Atta boy. Do, 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 do.
Quick question.
Quick question.